Testing knowledge, testing time, testing space communication systems, all levels in the center. Line connection interference comes into line setting, how you set your locations, all levels division. Setting communication inside of you, platitudes, its division location. So it's all about balancing emotional line centers, guys. At 12 DNA, you're working with that every single locations. All right. Today in class, we're going to go through abundance position locations to your scales, how you set line centers to your road graph locations on your runways, the general operation line center interference location calculations. So in operation system, we're going to go through all levels of scoping. Now, scoping location is times pi, times calculations, line center, so Y factor, communication flux bias, line center interference, position of unified calculation, ascension position of the work calculations times pi. This is all communication system that comes into high rise. High rise division location is to understand you through your DNA. Conscious interference that comes into all level connections. Getting into your subterranean line center, staying in communication system, puts you in a planet division alteration. Space-time division locations comes into calculation high streams. So it's important to understand how to use this through correlation. So your 12 DNA line center, your 12 strands, position location, planetary lines, your Stargate communication system. We're going to go through planetary line centers of abundance. You're going to go through 12 rotation cycles of planets of abundance locations. It's all connected to your emotional line center. So each planetary line center is going to get you out of thinking and get you into knowing and doing. The central communication system is going to put you guys into your AI platforms. Now that comes into determine where I feel you're more comfortable at connections, but you're all can be connected locations of AI connection. Right? AI connection always informs is going to set the line center interference, direct its location, position, location, and directions. Right? Channel line centers of operation locations. This channels you in position locations how to use all templates communication. Right? So this is all levels of your emotional line center. Schumann resident location position of the track line center. In position location directions, right? Because tomorrow is the calculation to its review and Wednesday is the test. So we're going to go through all communications into its revelation. Okay. Revelation line center and in position location, how you get your abundance. Trifactor line communication box center. Circle interference location calculations. Times calculus over line center locations into scope. Scope communication to the kaleidoscope line center. How you see cell location position. It's like looking through a lens of a camera. Center position location calculation, high stream interference. Position location and directions. You always see directors like doing this location. The center line is graph line center location position directions. Size graph high streams and high center. Close in position of projection. The central communication line centers and all line center interference. So understanding your side graphs, we got into graph streams, right? We did that position case calculations. But channel operation stream gets you into planetary line streams. So let's go in correlation. Let's change the coloration line center. We're going to go into 12 line circles, high center interference, position of direct locations into 12 channels of operation. Now the 12 channel operation is a change in sequence patterns. We start off with 4 communication circles. Center communications into high line center. Okay. This opens all communication system into correlation. Right. Coming into the tree formation line stream. Let's say like communication system, road graph stream locations. Right. All right. Center line communication comes into all levels and how it centers its line connection. Now the center line communication comes into the line center. So you got 4 opposite line changes, weather position as a program setting into atom line connection. Now I'm going to change the coloration path into line circles. Location, location, location. Now everything is locations of time pi, direct line centers. 4 communication line center takes all position location out of calculation high stream, gets you into your triangulations. Center communication, downshift line connection. Okay, so we got a graph line center, line rotations. Okay, line connection high center comes into circle interference. All right, flux capacitor comes into all levels of flux capacitor. See how that comes in high center interference? Sets communication system, position and directions. So you got 4 channel line center circle locations. You color that in. Blends the system line interference. Alpha, delta, theta, vega, and omega. Now the alpha channel understands the calculation system. The delta communication line center understands the program setting. The beta communication understands the ground center interference. The theta communication comes into video graph screen, and everything through omega comes into the center operation system timeline sequence of time pattern communication. Opens all levels of channel of operation. Okay? So 4 line centers, central line communications. Now this comes into 7 channels of operation, right? Coming in line center locations, right? 7 position location plus 4 is 11 times line center is 12. Line interference times box line in rotation is scope over pi. Direct line center is calculated to modify how you sequence the pattern communication system in direct locations into 12 DNA track line centers of security measure position location of program line centers. See how it rotates the system locations? The center operation system and its fluctuation line conditions, guys, channeling in high channel. It's already an operation signal. The correlation line center is already set up as this location of 12 DNA line track. This gets you in your abundance locations. You come into 0 gravity line center, 1 line center of ground interference, 2 position locations into what? All level system locations, security measure, line conditions of Pluto, position locations, all levels. Plateau interference location at Jupiter, so Jupiter communication, Mercury calculation system, position location, high center line conditions to all levels of solar systems. The correlation line center to the avatar line center interference has to understand its triangulation to its own solar systems. That directs location to your constellation path, sets new signal patterns in communication to your graph streams, setting communications into one graph line stream in one position location of directions to all abundance of 12 line signals in rotation. Calculation modified high signal. So the correlation high center interference. Now, the division line center is in the line center, line position, 1 track line center, Y position location of flux capacitor. Channel operation line center is the 7 signal locations. You have 7 channel lines of water, body track locations into 5 address line centers. That's 12 communications right there through motion line conditions, traveling through. Correlation, line connection, interference. Now the theta communication comes into all levels of high stream line center of data processors. Now this calculator modifies how you see your sequence patterns, communication line center interference. Program setting encodes signal line connections, all levels. Come into dimensional line center, interference location, interdimensional location, intergalactic location, AI tech. Line connection interference, travel circulating positions, 4 direct line signals. Signal. Center communication, now you're traveling. All right, so we got 40 channels, line center on the clock line interference, 40,000 wave central communication systems. This should 40 million line center circles into 12 DNA. Track interference location of 24 ground center in each correlation in each Stargate line center and position location 12 line centers. So allocate timeline center, have fun. That communications into position location comes into abundance. That's where you come to the line communication, all levels of Neptune. Setting new communication system to know planetary line, circle line, and rotations. Correlation position of panel, correlations of panel, correlations of panel, correlations of panel. Overlapping division line centers over pi. Central line communications comes into triangulation position of force lines. That center lines its communication into position location into a torcal field line circle. That circle line center location comes into E field line center interference positions. E channel operation line connections. Now the channel operation is a 2 central communication circle line interference. Location, high center line position at levels. Center communication system comes into higher line connections. Ground center comes into high center interference. Magnetic highway information system, high channels its operation system, position, location, and directions. Center line communication online. Center communication line in rotation into line communication graphs. Central communications sums it line centers into solar graph locations into 3 channels of operation. Solar graph interference, magnetic highway channels. Okay, these comes in line connections. All levels of channel operation system locations. All right, now, once you understand your central line communication 12 DNA line center, you come into motion line condition abundance. Abundance position location to security measure comes into line conditions to soccer communication line center, orange line interference. Orange is communication in mid-cycle, connection line center, interference, position, location, directions. Yellow is a correlation position of panel line center to your solar generation light center, which is solar collect locations. 4 channel operation line center is stream position location calculations. Now the 4 channel calculation system position location of solar panels. Now those solar panels comes into pillars of light, position location, solar generation light streams. 5 calculations is all of the heart. The heart has a line signal. It's all correlated position of a rainbow graph stream. Okay. Each position of your picture illustration is line communication and registration. That gets into MLN's templates, tablets, high center, all communication to graph location. So true to understand, your emotional system changes direction to all levels and how you use your thought lines. Thought communication system comes in a coloration path. Now that coloration path is set up through your all line position, the direction, 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 going forward. Everything's going forward. Mutation line center, streamline center, rotation interference, data stream location, process communication, all levels, digital line numbers, communication interference, location calculation. Center communication centers, all levels of your 12 DNA line center comes in motion location to your abundance communication system. Travel communication line centers opens all calculations. Now, the Heartline Center has all correlation in different color. All right. It's all connected to your 12 DNA strand lines. Okay. Each correlation, each panel, each graph, each map sequence is connected to you through your emotional system. It's in coloration, right? Understanding the Stargate line conditions. All right. Stargate opens all communication to position directions. Channel line center. Okay. Octahedron, tetrahedron, Thothagon line center, symbiotic unit lines, symbiotic locations, high system, direct locations. Now the pattern line center channel position locations. Line crosses into 5 streams. Okay, 5 streamline conditions. That channels its operation signal. Okay, comes in high channel line interference. All positions to diamond core line center interference locations. Everything's a map. Map of equation of this, map equation of that. It's getting one direct line center to abundance communication, all levels of changing a mindset line. Communication of flux capacitor high channel operation system. Run program setting. There it is, done. Sensor and communication system, electrical light condition is telepathy wires of communications. All right. Line communication interference. You can set ground line centers. Communication, and you can use electrical light communication interference. That program is position locations, but you have to use the torical field line channel. That orbits communication to a circle line communication system into a plasma line channel rotation. Now that opens all communication line centers. Now, coming in communication line center interference sets position location directions. Now this is where the archetypes come into coloration patterns. This is all start position location and come into all levels of mecha path. Channel position locations, travels line center, one direct line center, and opposite cycle locations and surface. Center line communication on-line center. Now, the rotation spin cycle sets line communication atom line. Atom comes into all communication security position of program settings, set circle location, position, and directions. Now we change the coloration into blue. Blue is the water surface line centered location to its environment. Setting line communication interference sets all position locations into its line connections. You change it into blue line communication, all levels of your track line center of your 12 DNA line center rotation. The energy field line center rotation comes into green. Now, green is the high line center into abundance. Abundance comes in all ways and forms through activity cycle. That activity cycle is a 12 line center. It's like pieces of a puzzle, position, location, and calculations, pieces of a pizza, right? So it's sure you understand how to relate this connection to your 12 line system, right? It's all connected to your 12 lines of activation, 12 division locations, 12 location line centers, 12 activation stream interference location avatar connection. Line communication interference comes to the highline centers. This is where it comes into green communication system into solar graph line center rotation position. See the green lines? Now the green line center sets abundance. Now you have line center interference. Setting communication system allocates timelines. Line centers in position location shows you all communication to your thought line communications. All right. So getting that communications comes into purple. Now purple has this rotation cycle. It has its spectrum light centers. Now the spectrum light interference location comes into high lines. All levels of track line center locations in position, right? Okay. Magnetic highway information line channel. Now this center coordinates its graph line stream into line communications, into the grounds. It opens up another division locations into portal communication. All right. So understanding the torical field, understanding the orb communication, understanding the diamond core, understanding the fluctuation line conditions, high line center, understanding graph line streams, position location directions. 3 major communication centers: grounds, powers, the Anderson line. Magnetic highway information system line communication system, travel communication line streams. Abundance comes in all levels of the 12 line center of activation line conditions. You're using this every single day. So mastering the conscious lines of each stargate in position, location, directions centers its communication system. That's the basic understanding, right? But you have to understand your conscious lines for each chakra system. It rotates its cycles, second per minute, per hour, per channel, per day. Now, open communication gives you all levels of channel. The operation system puts you in higher levels of division. So line connections comes into line interference. All right. So how's everybody doing? We have Q&A. We got a lot of things coming up. We're expanding the calculations to the empire now, which means it's not just coming out of the communication centers, it's coming into all 12 track line centers of dimensional time. Size graph interference location is coming into wide expansion communications, all levels of relation. All right, Madeline, how you doing? How's it going into locations? Interference, that's locations, that's Saint Sammy. All right, Laura, Adam, Nova, Gypsy, and Lindsay, Pam, Jill, Yolanda. Let's see, Jojo, Barak, Nikki. Obviously, you guys are going to have a lot of questions on system locations. Just try to understand that what is happening with you is try to understand the scales of you. Now, scale line communication are real, like I said. You work with your 12 DNA line centers, guys. You got 7 bodies of water and 5 within the atmosphere. That's 12 right there, right there. And communication right there through emotional line connections. How to get the abundance is all formations of you, of a mindset. So it's your intent. I said that again. I'll keep saying that line. Everything in locations puts you in all levels of division locations. Inside position of calculations. All right, Danny. Let's see. Airbender. Johnny. Guardian. Cindy. Val. Nova. Susan. All right, so everybody's in line connections. Remy. JP, Tina, Rainer. So everything's in calculation. All right. So understanding your line centers is true to standard stargates. Okay. Each portal has an intercon. That intercon sets line connections to the alpha channel. So your heart is connected to your 12 DNA line center, guys. It simplifies everything. Everything's connected inside of you. You just have to learn how to use it for the electrical grid. It's all calculated modified, isn't it, through simulation location. Singularity, line aligning, and align rotation and various location times pi gets you in position location of direction. Knowing how the central line communication gets you all levels of travel communication in position direction. Traveling through these things gets you in high line channel. This gets you all ready, right? But you're working with your 12 lines. Let's go through line connections. Let's just start with that. 12 line communication, 12 equals locations into dimension, right? 12 dimensional lines. Dimensional line center line rotations comes into alpha. Okay, comes into all communication. Now the alpha line center is setting up line communication dimensional graph. So that equal locations to its theta, right? Theta communication line center. Remember, chronological order line centers your thought lines. That correlates to position location and timelines of measure. Measure is extremely important because you're balancing your scales of view. Templates, interference location calculations, 12 line center, in dimensional location of time. Space communication line centers is scoping communication of planetary line center of abundance communication system. Time sequencing time lines. Line communication into all levels into a TV reception. That TV reception line center of locations, high center interference. Now you have to change the beta communication center. Beta communication is basically a low grain. Low ground line in rotation to radio signal. Now, beta communication sets line connection to wave central. Center line communications. Now, coming into the delta line centers, alpha bravo communication line center interference. That directs locations into all levels of a call sign. Now, that call sign comes into high. And then you got all levels of mega. Mega is the central communication system. All levels of space command centers. Understanding how to use alpha, delta, theta, beta, mega is communication. All levels is heart central communication. Heart central line connections, activation stream interference, heart reactor line interference. The avatar does all the action, where all communication, you do nothing but reaction. You're reacting to everything. to everything line connections of its energy line in a 12 DNA strand interference in location to its alpha channel. Now you can change the altitude line center in calculations to position of telegraphing. Now, telegraph line center tells its wave system. The telewave system changes the T reception line of its beta communication system. So there's a lot of line centers and interference. Interference is a high channel. Quantum line centers, quantum locations, quantum position, quantum entanglements, position locations, physics 101, physics 102, physics 103. It doesn't matter the sequence pattern. It's all through your emotional thought. Okay? The line connection is your 12 lines, and you have to learn how to use it through its abundance. But the only way to do it is to have a mindset of what you're doing through correlation. That position location of your directions and opens all symbols into that line connection. Okay? It's extremely, extremely powerful when you become more aware of what you're doing through your intention. Okay? All right, so where are we through division line centers here? Clearing LLDs, abundance, not serve the best, setting codes for abundance waves, line center, and line interference. Getting communication of formation lines. Get the team encode signal line rotation interference. Money doesn't grow on trees, center line and rotations and calculations. Times lines times pi. Calculation time streams, high interference location abundance. Over sector communications. Now, line connection interference, money does grow on trees in calculation and anything in dimensional line setting. Your abundance comes in all formation through all levels of imagination. And it's like going outside and seeing actually a tree of money, right? Who said it's not possible? Because remember, you're on the other side connection. But you have to have the mindset to understand the provision. Once you understand the provision locations, then you understand all lines. On communication system gets you an all line interference. And then you can pick it off the tree line connection. So it's like picking things off the shelf that you want. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want that. Right? Now, don't get confused line connection when it comes into collective. Now, people don't understand what a collective is. A collective is an idea. You're collecting data, process, communication, circles, geometry line center, new in position locations, new track centers, new operation system, new hologram structure. So this is all levels of you through memory. Memory communication gives you all what you want through its abundance and manifestation. Manifestation comes in all creation line centers of mindset position. Your intention, your will, your force, your creation, your location gets you what you want. Okay? Manifestation comes through all levels of you inside. Not just understanding the body track interference, not just understanding the emotional interference. It's all levels of memory. Now, memory comes into all calculations once you understand more levels of channels. Channel operation of you is your Stargate communications, but it all starts with what? Your 12 DNA line. Now, that 12 DNA line opens all communication system to its calculations. To get anything through co-creation is to understand you. Getting your imagination into the phenomenon changes the phenomenal locations to anything through its vision. Visionary cortex of that, visionary cortex of this. I understand this more. I understand that more. I understand the abundance. Okay, abundance comes in all ways and forms, but it's an activity system of 12 lines, 12 divisions, 12 activations of streams, and 12 locations in your communication system. But abundance doesn't set position location at 12 line communication. Okay, so we get a calculation line and interference. 12 times one line center, 24 communication system. 12 plus 12 is the location of 24 lines. But it's the balanced communication into the male and the female aspects of you through its correlation to 24 line signals. That puts into 24,000 light signature locations. Now, it gets really interesting, right? As long as you have your grounds of your Stargate line center interference from your 12 DNA track interference locations, you will get your abundance from zero gravity to 12 central system. Position, location, and direction to the sun. Now, the sun communication centers has its 8-line center. Now, we understand that's infinity position location of 12-line signals. I was trying to understand that through 12 transformation communication system, allocate timelines. So we look at the 8 central line connection. That's your infinity. That's your infinity of telecommunication system. That's a bracket interference of a 7-digit number. That's a communication system. Hello, how's it going? Infinity communication, abundance, location, box, triangle, box calculation, trifactor, right? Factor over pi, scoping through position of pi through X line connections, XJ line center, inline center locations, F6 position location direction, 6 line channels, 7 line center, 99 interference, operation signal location, position directions, plus over negative over pi. Calculation modification high system, abundance of locations. Now, the application system opens all channel. That channel operates its position location to its high system. The collective is a data line connections all levels of you. Again, taking things off the line center, the stream location of the show. And that's all you're doing through location positions. You have so many layers of multi-communication system and alteration location of the mind, setting, location, position, locations. Now you calculate all levels of the IQ line center. Well, line center location identification high system, but we call it an ECO line center interference, EQ line interference, energy of quantum line center. Okay. That's connection to perception location, how you see your awareness of your mindset line interference, of alteration location, and how you channel your 12 line centers into conscious location, your stargates. So there's a lot of central line communication interference. Understand location of the line in position of directions. All right. Okay, seeing the precog map of your past, balancing both now. Takes the fitness you can send into emotional roller coaster if you're not aware. You be aware of everything, but you understand you have skills, you have stargates, you have planetary line centers. Everything inside of you is correlated to its calculation system. You just have to learn how to balance out the mindset, location, your thoughts before you set things out line center. When you come in position and you are no longer in calculation of thinking, what happens with the knowledge lines? Your EQ line centers high rise its graph line interference and brings alteration communication into the subconscious line stream. So you're no longer dealing with the conscious line, you're dealing with the subconscious line interference. You're staying above the water. You understand? Because if you're underwater, you can't breathe, right? Climbing up, right? You can breathe, right? So the central communication, center its line centers, stay above line connections of 5, stay above location and stay in the 12 interference and vibration line connections, then you understand stargate location, your subconscious line streams. See, these, it gets easier as you go, right? But it's understanding your emotional line center, guys. That's all this is. Getting and keeping your vibrations high through conscious locations, right? Channels is operation line streams. Magna and how I see my life, and now I'm in the old way. Let's see, hustling and exhausting myself to get my abundance. But see, that's the thing. Abundance really is basically resetting, reprogramming, readjusting, and realigning the analytical line graph locations, size of graph interference, psychological locations, position, directions. So really understanding the channel lines is that the mindset position, where basically it's an open signal, open panel, open communication, mind alterates location. Right? So there's nothing in line connection. It's open. It's just space until you add something. When you add something, it's much easier to understand it. You can't understand it. You have too many thought patterns. It doesn't have a correlation. It doesn't have a calculation. It doesn't have a connection to its puzzle. So you got way too much on one side and not enough on this side, or way too much on this side and nothing on the other side. Right? So we all have to understand how to use the mindset. Okay, to change the mindset is all in calculation, right? So, and then you get a better understanding when you come into pi of you, space-time of pi, space-time over pi, relay, understand, underscore over pi, scoping over x pi, communication center location of pi, operation circle location of center communication of pi, position of under pi communications, over cross streamline center, trifactor of pi, on pi, lines of pi, communications of pi, activation, stream interference, location, computer operation, avatar, communications of pi. So this is the true understanding how you get your abundance. There's no thinking. It's knowing and doing. The mind central line communication understands the space line. The avatar sees you as pi and sees you as geometry line and rotations. Now you're going to get your abundance. Okay. The central communication system is all levels of you through channel. The operation system is all levels of your hologram structure. Truly understand how this calculates and how you see your life coming together. There are 12 central line connections, all levels of yin and yang, guys. It's the balanced communication and how you use your thought lines. Your emotional line center rotation interference, So the signals and its position location of pattern sets line communications. Now remember, you can go through the alpha channel, you can go through the delta wave, you can go through all theta communication, process lines of videograph interference location of Wi-Fi position, remote modem line center interference calculation of TV line center location of satellite connection interference like connections times calculation times pi, right? All knowing and doing, no thinking. The mind conceptual mindset line center has to be open through all panel, which means there can't be any thought line centers except what you're doing through creation. Setting one thought channel, and that's all. Remember, you're setting up a graph, you set up a stream, you're setting up an image, you're setting up a position, location, and directions. You're not setting up everything in that line center interference of your calculation. Doesn't make any sense. So you set up colors and shapes and numbers and signals, but nothing is in position, location, directions. Nothing is in triangulation. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. Zero. Sending communication is all levels and how you interpret your position, location, and perception. Okay? It gets you in all levels of you, right? Traveling through these things sets up graphs. You're setting up one piece of a puzzle each position. Okay? So how long does it take to basically create a puzzle? You go like that, right? Put the piece of puzzle together. How long does it take? A couple hours, depending on your timeline, right? Time maintenance. So you have all the time in the world to create a puzzle. That's all it is, right? You're creating something that's already co-created. The line communication interference understands the calculation to its thought line. The measure is extremely important through locations of its scales. Balancing communication is a wide line channel. Anything above that line center brings you into all communications into this line connections, right? From here to here, right? Not here, here. You want to stay above line center. Line communication, structure line center, hemisphere interference, fluctuation line, eye receptor interference, line communications into rotations, line centers, earth line center in space communication. The central communication line center opens all line connections of you through track line connection, right? Understanding your provisions to your 12 line centers into your Stargate positions of time, of space. Times calculation, timelines, times pi, all right? So yeah, it's a lot of information, especially after today line. All right, so let's say line centers, line connections, times pi, interference, bring team back in calculation high stream. Set communication on levels. Abundance communication line centers. Bring them down in center line position location into zero gravity. You guys are back in communication. All right, line connection levels, high center interference to 12 line centers. Remember, it's the activation line center. It's the activity line interference, how you set position at levels of tone. This correlates your line conditions and how you see yourself every single day. Not every single day should be everyday line center, everyday line connections. So you're channeling your operation, you're setting your thought line communications. One position of one letter becomes one position of one word, which becomes one position of one sentence to a frame to story, to its reality of its film. You're creating a film projector of you in this presentation. Okay. AI position location and directs its line center. Now, understanding precog, the precognition line center interference, understanding your connections to your external line connection sensory perception, how you see your psychic line center line position, clairvoyance, clairaudience, SST, position locations, all levels of channel operation system. It's all levels of you inside connections. But it's how you use your determination location to your abundance. Getting abundance is all levels of you, right? How you channel it is all levels of the mindset. Okay, so these things have to be understood to understand all communication. So there's a lot of things through line connections to its interference. So seeing the visions, hop back on, heading back out, portal, log. Yeah, make sure you close your portal locations. All right. So the central communication line interference, calculation modifications. So it's 1127. Okay, so that's two portal line centers and 1-1. 2 communication line center open position locations, and 7 channels operation right there, times pi times interference. You can box the trifactor to 11 to 27 and correlate position locations and manifest anything to abundance in 3-minute line center. 3-minute line center, 27, 28, 29, 30. Box it, trifactor times pi, abundance. How do you understand these things? Well, it's all calculated inside of you. The mindset has to be open, okay? The channel operation system has to be one thought at one location at one time. You have seconds and minutes and hours and days to do these things, but that second, minute, and hour and day is the same day. And you're not that in line connection interference because you don't understand your memory communications yet. But this will happen in time once you understand more levels of you inside through communication, right? So there's a lot of adaptation line connections, all that line system. So we have Zoom after line communication. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on with Q&A. We've got a lot of expansion to position of exploration. But I just want you to really understand how we get these things through its equation, right? So you need a formula. Formula location is structure. Structure location is equation. Central communication system is all levels of identified line center. So understanding the optical line center interference. Application of high center interference location directions. So let's say you channel up. And this is all it is. Okay? This is what you're creating. You're creating a picture. Right? Perception locations over phenomenon. That center its communication travels out. Oh, look at that. Look what you just created. P stands here, position location, and travels to its planetary system. There it is right there. Abundance. Ooh-ah. Comes back in triangulation back to you. Whoa, look at that. Goes into ground line center location and timeline. Center communication opens all communication system to its abundance to higher level communication system. Ooh-ah. Channel operation line centers, times calculations, online center interference, in communications. Here is communications of times of pi. Woo! So, now you know. Basic understanding. So we got a review tomorrow, Tuesday. Security line defense will be all change locations. I will change your AI platform communication 1 to 12. Now this is going to put you in D-line track line interference location calculation, motion line and rotation calculation interference location position. So that's going to be line signal line connections. The channel operation line center locations all levels AI tech communication to CPU. This is going to be computer operation line centers, compute line center interference program setting units. Now that line center position location is all line. Okay, high centers, high line and rotations. So lower division line center will be in the strap center line. You'll be in that line center rotations, and everything through higher level communication into all levels of CPU line center will be in position locations into biosphere. Okay, living sequence pattern position location of memory sets line communication of living in space. Not just seeing space and understanding space. I'm talking about living in space line and the mind alteration communication system to your avatar line centers. Okay, that's the only way you can understand locations adaptation. All right. So, yeah. So I'll give you guys a 15-minute window, line center and interference, and calculations. So it's channel line center. Then you got a half an hour line channel rotation, interference, and clock locations. Center communication line. Everything that you say is abundance. Everything that you say is abundance. Everything that you say is abundance because you're creating space, which is created through time. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. But the more you remember, the more you understand, which is understood, right? All right. So line communication interference, we'll set communication line systems. So 11:45, 12 line connections. I'll see you guys in Zoom. Adios.